Today we are talking about why cervical instability is very difficult to diagnose and why it's even harder to treat. If you're wondering who I am, if it's your first video, first time on my page, my name is Oliver and I'm qualified to talk about this topic because I had cervical instability and now I no longer have cervical instability. What's unique about my journey is the way I went about resolving mine. I saw so many people not get results from doing all the mainstream things, which then I still went and tried the massage, the dry needling, the acupuncture, the mainstream PT, and the prolotherapy, which I even did for 12 weeks. I saw so many people not get good results, and I went and did that. I knew something was missing. I knew I had to do something different to everyone else. So then I dove into fascia research, and I understood that fascia is the missing piece. It's the thing that your doctors, your physiotherapists did not learn about, because 22 kilos of fascia, 22 kilos of you was discarded during human anatomy dissection. So the way that the doctors understand the body does not include the fascia. But why is it important? Well, we've got up-to-date fascia research now. This is an emerging field, and Jan Wilk found that 86% of all injuries occur on the fascia and not the muscle. That's huge. Then once you understand that fascia holds the body together through tensegrity, meaning tension with integral elements, and also fascia is the endless web, so it holds the body together in one piece. It's all connected in one piece. There's no beginning or end. So if something with tension loses tension and it's one piece throughout the body, and you have an 86% chance of your injury including this feature, that's going to have a huge effect throughout the body. And then you learn that fascia has 10 times more sensory receptors than muscle. And then you learn that fascia connects all systems in the body, affects all systems, and all systems affect it. Once you start stacking up this knowledge, you go, hang on a minute, maybe this is why people aren't getting better. So then I worked with the person who's the best in the world at resolving fascia injuries, that is Chong Zi. And Chong has done this for 10 years. He's got his own innovative training style based on the most up-to-date fascia research. He works alongside fascia researchers like Dr. Robert and also Carla Stecco, and I got amazing result. In this video, I want to talk about why fascia injuries, specifically cervical instability, are very hard to diagnose, and also why they're even harder to treat. We're going to watch 3 short clips from Chong's video on cervical instability. Here's the full video if you want to watch it. And by the way, yes, I do work for Chong because I've done quite a remarkable thing. The first person in the world to resolve a neck injury with hyperarch fascia training. That's huge. So now I work with him to help educate more people about fascia, fascia's role in injuries, chronic pain, and chronic conditions. I work with him to put out more fascia content to educate you guys, but also more cervical instability content.
On the bottom, there are fascial layers. And then you have these structures within it, okay? You can see it's a 3D structure. And these are microscopic structures within the body. And fascia is mainly made of the water and collagen. So, you know, when you do dissection, because it's only 1 to 3 millimeters, especially the superficial fascia and the underlying fascia, it's very, very tiny, right? It's very easily dismissed. However, these structures play a significant role in your daily lives, and also affects the way that you feel, because this contains 10 times more sensory nerves than just muscle or any other tissue that you have in the body.
10 times more sensory receptors than any tissue in the body. Keep that in mind when you're having any sort of sensory symptoms. It's not to do with the muscle, it's to do with the fascia.
So why this is important? Because as the fascia glide, so the top layer and lower layer glide, it creates these structures. So
the layers of fascia actually have to be able to glide against each other to create the overall structure. This is one of the reasons why people doing PRP, prolotherapy, stem cells, or even surgery may not get the results that they desire. Hey, as I said, some people, they get the results and that's fantastic, and fascia can explain why those people get the results that they do. But for the people that don't get the results that they are after, potentially, it's because you're not actually changing the structure. Yeah, you might be able to regenerate and heal some damage, but you're not going to affect the overall connections across multiple junctions. And when I say junctions, I mean multiple bones, multiple joints, and multiple muscles, because as you know, fascia is now one continuous tissue throughout the body. So to keep that in mind, the fascia layers have to slide in order to create these structures. And of course, this is a feature of hyperarch fascia training, the training that I did to resolve my injury and remodel my body, because HFT is using fascia's properties and behaviors to be able to remodel fascia structures throughout the entire body.
The vertical strings that you see here, these are fascial structures, and you know, this is simplified, of course. Then I have these structures where you see you have holes, right? And guess what? Let's say I have This is, imagine this is a nerve. The nerve has to go through the fascial structure. Now, if the fascia becomes disorganized, and for example, it doesn't have this room anymore, it just collapses like this, guess what happens to your nerve? Your nerve also gets entrapped.
If you're having symptoms that you think sound the same as somebody else that's being diagnosed with an impinged nerve or a restricted blood vessel or anything like that, but on your scans nothing is showing up, you might think you're crazy. But trust me, I understand you're not crazy, because these things did not show up on my scans either. Why? Because fascia doesn't show up on MRI. So what you have to understand is you can't actually see the tissue on these scans that is causing the instability in the first place. Remember, instability is to do with the body not able to create a stable structure. Our body is held together through tensegrity, through fascia, and we can't see that on the MRI. So when these structures collapse, when these layers collapse, they can put pressure and apply friction to blood vessels, to nerves, and to some other key components that you'll hear about in a second that cause other symptoms. So when these structures collapse, we can have a global effect throughout the body that can create many, many symptoms. Another reason why cervical instability is so hard to diagnose and even harder to treat, because people look for the symptoms instead of looking for the cause. But you can't see the cause if you can't see it on the scans. All right, video 2.
The disorganization of fascia. Disorganization means that you have a nicely spaced fascial structure to start with. Now a trauma or injury could, force this structure to collapse. All right, collapse. Now it's disorganized. You can see that. And whatever nerves in between is trapped. And this will give you a lot of different sensation. It's not just the nerves, the arteries, veins, your lymphatic system channels, your glymphatic system channels. So the glymphatic system is really what takes out the neurological waste from your brain. This is very important. So imagine these channels being collapsed and pressured by the collapsed disorganized fascia.
People that have brain fog, I was part of that club. Listen up. The glymphatic system channels can be blocked or can be compressed by fascia. Let me put up my list of symptoms here, because I do have quite a long list and people are often curious to compare it to their own stories. I would wake up every morning with brain fog, and it would feel like it would take an hour, maybe 2 hours to defrost my brain. I couldn't think properly. My head just felt like it hurt. Now, when you're lying down, of course, certain things are going to happen. Some people find they feel worse when they lie down. In about week 4, I found that I wasn't waking up with brain fog anymore. That was one of the first big signs that things were starting to change. All right, third and final video.
And there are other areas of the body when this gliding couldn't occur properly. It also causes compensation patterns. So the people that, first they could have the cervical instability problem, and then now they feel their body holistically disconnected when they try to do like strength training, for example.
Another reason why PT is probably not going to help your cervical instability. 1, it's a fascia injury and PT is focused on the muscle. But 2, if you have compensation patterns start to form, that can affect the body in many ways. What is a compensation pattern? For example, if you injure the back of your neck, but then the front of your neck starts to get tight, you have instability, but your sternocleidomastoid, these 2 big muscles coming down here, are chronically tight, or your scalene muscles just in behind that are chronically tight, your traps are tight, or your shoulder feels unstable now, that starts to drop. Something else on the other side has to tighten up to change that. My hips got affected from my cervical instability. Because I've lost tension, the body starts to shorten and make things tighter to try and make up for that loss of tension. These are compensation patterns. They can change how we move, and then they can cause pain, discomfort, adhesions, disorganized fascia. It really is a cascade of effects. There's a thing called piezoelectricity. Just briefly, piezoelectricity is an electric current, is energy created by the fascia, by mechanical tension being put on the fascia to then create or compress the collagen, which is made from carbon, which is part of the fascia, and that actually creates piezoelectric current. So if you have a fascia injury, you have a lesser ability to create that piezoelectricity, but also a lesser ability to distribute it throughout the body. These are one of the things that then can contribute to fatigue and not make you able to regenerate and repair those damaged cells. That's all for today. If you have any questions, send me a message on Instagram, put a comment below. Please share this video with someone that you think might find it useful. Please share it in all the social channels and all the groups. I know people are confused. I know people want answers, and hopefully this messaging and this education can get out to more people, and we can start to gain a greater understanding of this condition.